Last night I met the devil, which is crazy, because I thought I was the devil. Turns out I'm not. Family.
Howdy, Roundabout. Oh.
Fortnite.
Buddies. Fortnite driving. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, all you buddies without your film degrees. You could have film degrees if you subscribed. However, it doesn't matter. Anyways, we watched Fast 10.
Which should have been called
Fast 10, Your Seatbelts.
Everybody knows this.
Everybody knows
Everybody
it.
knows.
Come on.
Everybody knows. I mean, this is a franchise that's built around like awesomeness. They couldn't have taken the extra step.
Well,
I mean, come
they're
on.
saving it for Fast 11, which is going to be Fast 11 Your Seatbelts.
Oh,
and it'll just be the rest of it.
Or for you Ben 10 fans, Fast 11. $10. Avery knows. That's
Been
for you.
$10.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we went and saw Fast 10, and let me just say, it's another series in the Fast and the Furious, or another entry in the Fast and the Furious series.
Hey, it's that.
It is. It is a wild ride. Definitely go see it in theaters while it's still out. It's way more enjoyable in theaters than it's going to be on your TV screens.
So for those of you who don't know, I am a huge Fast and Furious
Aficionado.
Sure. I didn't see a lot of them. The first one I saw in theaters was Fast 9. But I watched when Fast 7 came out is when I started watching them. Since then, man, let me tell you. Oh!
Yeah, so back in the day when we had a podcast with Jake, myself, and Chris, I went and saw Fast 9. We went and saw Fast 9, but we did the podcast episode on Fast 5. Right.
Which is ironic because that plot
is heavily affected this one. But that was my first introduction to the Fast and Furious franchise, so I can't remember the order, but I watched all of them about 2 years ago, and I fell in love with the series for an entirely different reason than I like other series at all of film. This is just rampant action and cars and muscles and sweat and just kind of like funny bro humor. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's what this franchise is, and that's what it delivers. So before we get into this, I do want to say we're not going to judge this in the same way that we judge other movies necessarily.
Similar to how we did with what was the other one that had Kid Sense in it?
Oh, Mario?
Mario.
Yeah.
in the same vein as Mario.
Yeah.
Because listen, guys, right off the gate, look, as a film, it's like a 4, maybe 5 out of 10.
Plot just happens for no reason. Timing is all over the place in terms of like where people should be and how things happen. Physics and reality doesn't really exist.
But who cares about that?
I don't care.
Who cares about that?
Not me. Well, so basically, I just want to say in terms of the stakes of this film, because I think that's where this series really does well, is in the action and in the stakes, which I guess you could say is part of action. But regardless, the film does a really good job at giving stakes to the character, and the whole film. And you get this from the trailer. The whole film is Aquaman just basically telling Dom, it's like, who do you choose to save? Because you can't save everybody. And then he tests him over the course of the film. Dom has to keep making decisions as to who he's going to save, how he's going to do it, and it pushes him until we get our very first cliffhanger of the series.
The first cliffhanger in a film in a while, I say.
Yeah.
Because the last two-parter... Oh, no, Infinity War. Never mind.
Infinity War had a cliffhanger.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. It ended on a...
It ended on a defeat,
We'll just...
but Yeah. Well, it's not a cliffhanger in the traditional sense. This almost quite literally is.
There's the last shot where Dom is like, "Oh wait, no, I'm short." So
That's the last shot.
and then it cuts to black.
Right, and I was like, oh, is it over? And then it came back in, and I was like, oh, that was weird. And then then the scene went on for 20 seconds, and then it was
And
like
then it was
film
over.
over, and I was like, what?
They did a pre-post credit
Right,
scene.
yeah, it was a pre-credit scene, also known as the movie. In terms of the stakes, again, like everything that Aquaman does pushes Dom's character to make decisions and to perform actions quickly on the spot. You never know how exactly he's going to get out of there. Probably neither does he, but he's able to make it up on the go. But I just really appreciated the fact that they had sacrifices. They have some off-screen deaths, so they're probably still alive if I had to guess.
Nobody.
But
all I'm saying.
But even still, like spoiler alert. We'll get to the spoilers alerts. John Cena dies.
I think that's the one where I'm like, he'd probably die.
Yeah,
I think that's for sure.
Yeah,
they can only afford one or the other.
Right.
So,
yeah. So, yeah, John Cena is definitely dead. I mean, he plowed into a bunch of cars and then it exploded, and it was done with the cannon car, and so the Batmobile.
Right.
And so it was also meant to again just add extra gravitas to Vin Diesel's whole motivation in the end as well, and so I think that's definitely going to stick.
Yeah, and I'll say this too: these films have never been.
Sorry.
These films have never been discreet about what they're trying to do, which is why I think they're great. Because generally, how I rate a film is its efficiency and its effectiveness and being what it's trying to be, and I think these films do that. And so there are a lot of these more obvious, metaphorical, symbolic, emotional, physical stakes happening that are stated, but that's okay, because none of these characters are these very mental characters. They're all about action. Little words, big drive.
Little Words, Big Drive is the subtitle of Fast 11, by the way. I will say, getting into negative criticism here, which I want to do before we get to maybe some final words. This may be present in the other movies, but I was drug out of this film multiple times specifically due to the editing.
Yes, that was my biggest complaint too. And speaking from experience, that is not how it usually is.
I was gonna say I wish I had, because there was a lot of references to the past movies. I didn't watch the previous films before this. I'm definitely doing that before 11. Definitely gonna do that before 11. But I didn't get around to doing that. So again, stylistically, that might be in line. Jake says that it's not, so I'll take your word for it. But yeah, the editing was just choppy. And the action scenes, I get it, they're older actors, and so you got to kind of edit around. You got to Liam Neeson Taken, the editing. Yeah. Even in the non-combative scenes and in the scenes where people are just explaining things, I mean, the editing decisions were just strange.
They were, and it honestly felt like, and no offense to these people because I'm one of them, it felt like somebody who was still developing their skills. Because there was a lot of, so one of the things that you learn is to edit on beat, edit rhythmically. And so whenever there was music playing, there were some pretty obvious beats that were happening that a cut was happening on when it probably shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what was going on here. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Is that they were, instead of just holding on this moment, not being afraid to really let any given moment sink in, they cut. And not because of the same reason with Mario or Guardians 3, it felt more like a mistake. It didn't really feel like they were doing it on purpose.
Yeah, and that does become a bit more subjective, and we understand that. However, I don't think if you pointed out the editing mistakes, or what we see as editing mistakes, I think people would agree.
Yeah.
After that's said, again, that might not be something that you notice inherently, but that was something that, again, really pulled me out of it. I was like, man, if they had just done one more pass through with like the head editor or something, I feel like they could have kind of nailed that in. Again, even in just the dialogue scenes, like it was just weird back and forths, weird holding on characters who were talking, and
combined with camera movement, this is not a very still film. Almost every shot there was some sort of pan, up and down, tilt, whatever. And another thing that you learn is that you move in motion. So if you're having a shot that's tilting down, well, your next shot doesn't tilt down as well. It's sort of the same idea when it comes to the rule of 180. It's jarring. So when you're moving down and you go to the next cut and you're starting from the top of the frame going down again, it takes you out of it. Yeah. So that's what was happening in this film too. Is you would have a shot that was panning to the right. The next shot would be also panning to the right instead of to the left or whatever.
Or parallaxing to the right or something to where the motion continued even though it was visually different in the frame. And it's jarring when that's not just the same continuous shot. But on top of that, another negative aspect, I would say, and this may be more controversial, what the hell was Jason Momoa doing in this film?
Let me tell you, whatever the reason is, people love eccentric villains. They love these villains.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a good actor. I don't know. I haven't seen Vikings. He did a great job in Dune. Okay, he did.
Oh, I forgot he was in.
He was okay in Aquaman. That was a very, he's one of the muscle guys. That's why he's in Fast and Furious. But this whimsical, lighthearted ballerina villain did not fit him.
It's so weird, man. There's like one bit where he's coming down from a tower and then he just hold this. He just does this. He goes,
"Oh my god!"
before getting into the car.
I think it was CGI.
Don't.
But it felt like he was trying to act crazy. It is in the same vein of actors trying to portray mental illness. It is hard to do. Yeah. So I'm not saying he's a bad actor. It's a hard role to play. And I don't think it fits his stature. Now, what could have worked and what kind of worked is, him being a fan of Dominic. Because we do see in one scene where there's the race, right? Where that happened, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just such a fan. I get to race you. I'm going to beat you. Oh, my God." And he's kind of awkward sometimes. Yeah. And those two things work great. But when he's like, "Puerto Rico, I'm crazy," it's just like, what's going on? It wasn't really emotionally satisfying. I think they were holding back a lot in this film, that it's gonna be part of Fast 11.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. So let me say this, and you can put this in wherever you want to. I thought this was the end of the series. I thought this was the end. So I was going into this film thinking that there wasn't going to be another one. I did not know that Fast 11 was confirmed.
Yeah, I already knew that.
So that may change on a second viewing now that I know that. Because I'm watching it and the end is coming and I'm like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
How are they going to finish this? And then that final shot happens and I'm like,
Yeah, no, I already knew this was a part one, essentially, for the ending. I still wasn't expecting the cut to black, like, kind of thing, but again, like, I figured we would have an Infinity War situation. And I'm also thinking this is going to happen in Mission Impossible 7, where good guys lose, got to come back and beat the guy at the end.
It's a good trope.
Going back to the good, the drone shots, like the racing drone shots.
Oh yeah,
those are pretty good. I don't think those were in the last one, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. I like racing drone footage for like car chases and stuff. I think it's really inventive, and I think it's a cool like medium, and so I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff like that. But I don't think they used it as much as they could have. See Michael Bay's Ambulance if you want some like crazy cool looking stuff.
I like cars go fast. I like big action, when the first real action scene is just them chasing down a big ball,
Yeah.
which I thought was really freaking hilarious. And let me just say, Dom was being pushed to his limits in this film.
Yes.
We didn't see a lot of him, but when we did, he was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Yeah, he's usually like on top of things, and they just add more things for him to take over, which works. But in this one, you really felt like he was on the back foot for the whole movie.
And I think that's because this has been the most personal the stakes have been. And I think it really works because usually in these films, they go bigger and bigger and bigger with what the antagonist is. There's usually a MacGuffin. This film, there's not. And so they may have not gone to outer space, but they really said, hey, your buds, we're going to red wedding them.
Yeah, they went to inner space.
Yeah, within their mind.
Yeah.
I also like
sorry.
the music. It's got a certain feeling to it that makes me feel like
I love looking
I'm
at
a
some big
barbecue,
muscle
which they
dudes,
talk about
not
a
in a
lot.
gay way, but
Cars
in a
are
very
cool. I
respectable
wanted to see the
way.
ramp car because they had it,
Chris
but they
Redfield
didn't.
or whatever his
Also,
name is.
Jason Statham punching the guy and he comes
Action
out. Reminds
sequences
me of
are
this.
awesome.
I love how just everybody knows how to drive and fight.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Even the kid.
yeah, everybody just knows what to do, and that's great.
Yeah.
They're
Dominique
all-
Toretto pulls 2 flaming helicopters behind him and then uses them as weapons. Like, dude, if I could be taught physics by Dominique Toretto, because he clearly,
Dominique.
yeah, it's Dominique Toretto. It's
that racist?
Dominique Toretto. No, it's Italian, so it's fine. But no, like, if I could be taught like a physics lesson by him, because I feel like he's got so much going on in the brain. Like when
That's why
he's
bald, dude.
right, yeah, like I feel like behind his eyes every time he's driving, he's like,
It's like the Sherlock Holmes thing with Robert Downey Jr. and he stops
yeah.
and then he goes like that.
Yeah, he puts his car in drive, and then you just see like it flash. He's like, I can throw the helicopter at this car, and then.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But anyways, that's our thoughts on it. Jake, what would you rate this movie out of 10?
So I'm gonna pull a Chris here. Okay, I already gave you my actual rating. I'm
4
gonna
out of
give
10.
You my Fast and Furious rating.
Yeah.
This is a solid 7. Solid 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that 11 really brings it. Like I said, I think that's probably.
They're
Kyle
holding
mentioned
off,
we were
yeah.
walking to the theater that they might have filmed both of these in succession, which I think is possible. And so I think they backloaded this. What would you call this?
Just the
duology.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I agree. Yeah, 4 out of 10 for a real movie, and then 7 out of 10 for Fast and Furious. I didn't like this one as much as some of the other Fast movies. Maybe we'll do a rating of all of them at some point. But it was pretty solid. It was a solid entry into the series,
time.
and if they don't hit the brakes too hard with the last one, then I think this one will be better by comparison. So.
Yeah.
But with that, bye.